Okay, so let me firstly make some introduction. So today we're having an aim session with our partner, GoMeat. So I want to enclose any details about the project because I think you'll do it better. So yeah, let's start with just introducing you yourself and as well as GoMeat.
Thank you. Sure. My name is Waqas Siddiqui, and about myself, I have about 20 plus years of experience working for some of the largest technology companies around the world, managing their multi-million dollar technology practices. Been part of several digital transformation projects and programs around the globe. Started from Southeast Asia, worked in Middle East and Europe region for a while, and then since last 9 years or so, I'm relocated to USA. A little bit about GoMeat. GoMeat is our what I would say it's a startup that we established about 4 years back. I'm one of the founders of the GoMeat, and it's a first blockchain-based online ordering and delivery services catering to the halal and kosher meat, food, and groceries. It's just like Uber Eats or DoorDash or Grubhub. The only difference is that we are based on blockchain, and we're going to talk more about what the blockchain component is. And we are target on a very niche market, which is although niche, but it's a huge $40 billion market in the USA and about $1.9 trillion market globally. So it's a huge market out there, and we are the first ones who have started getting into that market. Back to you.
Okay, basically, as any business, you're solving some issues. So it's like you're aiming to solve the issue of a customer. So what problem is GoMeet solving, and how big is your target market, target audience?
So, GoMeat, we are solving a problem of about 2 billion consumers worldwide, especially the consumers who are in specialty meat and food industries. So the identification of halal and kosher meat, food and groceries, that's the first one. When somebody wants to have that, then they need to look for it specifically, especially in the USA. This is something which is not readily available in large stores like Walmart's and Wegmans and Costco's. Is something that some small retail stores are offering this kind of meat, this specialty meat, and they are certified by specialized certification boards. And the entire process is all manual. There's a massive trust deficit down there. It's more around the word of mouth, the way it is happening. So the identification of the halal and kosher meat, food, and groceries, that's the first. And the second one is that making sure that is it really halal. So Go Meat, as I mentioned, part of the blockchain, we are leveraging on the blockchain heavily, and we are building a use case where we can provide complete transparency to our customers in terms of the authentication of the certificates, that this is really certified halal or certified kosher and it's certified by which certification board, so they can have that transparency. And not only that, they can also trace that which slaughterhouse or farm this meat is basically coming from. So with all this, we are providing authentication and traceability to the consumers with our vision that we want to empower the people to know what they're eating. And this is a massive problem for billions of consumers worldwide. And as I mentioned earlier, that we are the first one who are getting into this market. It's a $1 trillion market globally, and we are not just a futuristic idea. That's one thing very important. We are an established company in the US. Our presence is already in 40 plus states in America, and we are already a revenue generating company. Back to you.
Hmm. I see. So it sounds like you have a really big target audience and a really big target market. So yeah, and if you have such a big target audience and a target market, do you have many competitors, or it's a zone of free of competitors?
Well, so this is something which usually what used to happen before we started the marketplace was that we used to have individual stores, offering online ordering and delivery services. But then we started with the marketplace. So we are the first ones in the market. We do not have any competition, and although we have opened up the market for others to join in now, but we have an advantage that we are far ahead with thousands of store on our platform already, and trying to establish our brand. And we are trying to spread the word of what we are doing, because our challenge is that not many people are still aware of what we are trying to do and what we are solving. So in terms of the competition, as of now, there is no other such marketplace who is focused on this specific niche area. However, there are individual players who are doing that, but not as a marketplace. Although after us, we've noticed that Uber Eats and DoorDash, they have also kind of like started to reach out. But our differentiator is that it's a blockchain based, the transparency and traceability we are providing. Nobody else is doing that at the moment. Back to you.
Well, that means like your project is really very unique. So, and um, what is what for are you using blockchain?
Sorry, can you say again? What?
So, what for are you using blockchain? So,
So
how
yes,
do you implement this
yeah,
technology?
right. That's a great question, and a lot of people they are asking the same question. We were the sponsors for the consensus in Austin last year and the year before, and everybody was surprised at what a blockchain, Meet is doing in a blockchain business. So blockchain is, the Bitcoin when it became common. A lot of people got interested because of the hyper rise of Bitcoin from some pennies and cents to thousands of dollars. People got interested, but the underlying technology on which it operates, that's the blockchain. It's a ledger which it maintains on the records, that is immutable, it's unhackable. So we realized at that point in time that this can be used for several other use cases, like the supply chain use case we have. And this is very relevant for a real life use case where we have the identification and authentication of the halal meat. And so the challenge here is that right now the process is completely manual. Like all these certification boards, they are very manual. What they do is that they provide certification on a piece of paper, which they just stick on the wall, all these meat stores. And sometimes they become invalid. They don't go for the renewal of those certifications. And it's more of a word of mouth. So people, we don't know, is it actually halal or not, or is it like they revalidated that, or that they audited that. It's an unregulated market, and halal meat is expensive than the normal usual meat. So there's always, because of this distrust, we realize that we can solve this problem using the blockchain technology, where we can automate all these certificates and maintain them on the blockchain. And we have our app, which is downloaded by thousands of people. We have many customers who place orders, and we can give them this transparency that the store which they're ordering from is actually halal certified, and from which certification board, because there are multiple certification boards as well. And not only that, like in phase two of our expansion, we can actually provide them the traceability aspect of it, that which slaughterhouse this meat is actually sourced from, when it was slaughtered. Is it like 6 months old or a year old, or is it something which is fresh, and what that this animal was fed. So all these data can be maintained and can be provided via our app integration with the blockchain itself. So in short, the authentication uh, of the halal and kosher certifications for each of these stores, as well as the traceability aspect of it, covering the supply chain, which is a bigger use case, which is a very strong part of our roadmap, so that the people can actually be empowered to know what they're eating when they're eating. I hope this answers your question.
Yeah, I think you absolutely fulfilled the question, like even more than I wanted to know. So, yeah, I really understood. I think everyone, because personally, me, I've been reading like your website, your all the information you have in public because I was making some content like that's kind of logic. And but just explain for other people. So you have a token, and it's like GoMeat, GOMT token, and what is it for? So what are the utilities of this token?
Awesome. So we have created a tokenomics based on our blockchain use case, and it's a cryptocurrency token. It's a utility token. That means that it brings a lot of benefits and advantage to the holder of that token. Some of the biggest advantage of that token, and it depends upon the stakeholders. We have multiple stakeholders. We have certification boards as one of the stakeholders, and we have all these retail meat stores who are also our key stakeholders. Then we have our biggest stakeholders who are the customers, and then we have the delivery drivers. So in terms of the utility of the token, let's talk about the customers first. So the customer, if they place an order using our own token, they will get additional discounts. Like if we are running a campaign of 15% discount, for instance, in any given period of time. But if somebody is placing an order instead of using a credit card, but our own token, then he will get additional 10% discount. So he's getting essentially 25% off on his meat and food order. So that's like one of the biggest advantage using our token, placing an order using our token. Secondly, whoever places an order using our GoMeat token, there's no delivery charges for that. It will be free delivery for that. That's the second utility of that token. The third utility is that whoever is placing an order using our GoMeat tokens, they will get more cash back. Usually we do 1%, but in that case, they can get 2% cash back. Now, this is for the customer perspective. Now, for the stores, if they provide 5-star service and if the customer rate them 5 stars, they will be rewarded in tokens. Same for the delivery drivers. If they provide 5-star ratings, if they get the 5-star ratings from the customer, they will get rewarded in the token. So it will improve the quality of service and it will enhance the value of the service, and of course will be very important for the customer retention and the loyalty building of the brand. Then for the certification boards usually operate on not-for-profit. They are charity donation-based organizations, so they will be supporting them in terms of staking some tokens with them, so that they can stake and they can get some returns, which will enable them to continue their operations. Now, let's keep in mind that we are a technology company, although we are operating in halal and kosher space, but we are not the religious authority. We are a pure technology company. We are just leveraging on the blockchain and the technology to provide transparency and empowering the customer of those items. And it's a huge $1 trillion market globally. So with these utility token use cases and with the real life situation, we are promoting the adoption of the tokens. Right now, what is happening that there are a lot of companies they came in past few years when we have the boom of these cryptocurrency companies. There has been like the crypto winter going on, the Bitcoin crash, but most of the companies they raise money and then they were not able to execute. But we are very different, even in the worst of the situation, because we have such a strong underlying fundamental business. We were able to sustain and continue our operations, and in fact, we kept expanding. And this is only based on the utilities that we are offering. Although there is still a long way to go for us, but we have improved in last couple of years. We have taken the feedback from the customers, from the stores, and we have massively upgraded our technology infrastructure and platform. And we are ready for the next phase of expansion to promote the adoption of our GoMeat token. These tokens are very limited in supply. It's total 5 million in supply, and they are kind of deflationary. And we'll talk more about that in the later part of the call. But I hope it answers the utility of the token question.
But I think we can speak a little bit more about it. So maybe you can share, like you mentioned your roadmap. So can you, like, if it's not a secret, of course, if it's not confidential information, so can you please enclose some more details about your roadmap?
So the important thing before we talk about the roadmap, I want to talk about like the why people will place an order. Like what is the value proposition that we are bringing for
Okay, okay.
lot of stakeholders, right? So this is something which is essential. We have not just started to establish a company just for the sake of because there's a technology and we just want to prove it. No, there is a problem, and we are trying to solve the problem. There's a problem. There's a consumer. There's a market. There is like people are willing to pay extra money for that, and there's something which is uh, where there was a gap. Now the stores, these stores are kind of like manual stores. They're not digitalized. They're small stores. They do not have the bandwidth and capacity to spend or invest in the technology. So we are kind of digitizing them, and their value proposition is that we are opening them to our customer base. So in return, they are getting an increased revenue. Like if people are placing order using our platform, so they're getting access to more customers because we are supporting them in terms of their promotions and marketings, and we are also helping them to grow their revenues. So this is like a very strong value proposition for stores to come on our platform. And we have, as I mentioned, like more than 2,000 stores operating in 40 states in America based on that. Now, the customers, of course, these stores are small stores. Usually what happened that the customer, they go to those stores, there's a long line, they're far at distance. This specialty meat is not easily available everywhere. They have to stand long lines and they have to wait for their order to process. And these stores are like low on manpower, so that the person who's taking the order is also the same butcher is processing the meat, and so it takes a longer time. So the time value of money concept, the customers who understand that it brings value to them, that they can simply place an order at the convenience from their home and they can get it delivered at their doorsteps. So that's a very strong value proposition for the customers. And then on top of it, if they're placing an order using an own token, they're getting at much lower price than if they go to the store and buy it from there, because they're getting discounts, they're getting free deliveries, and they're getting cash back. So all those adds up to the overall propositions. And similarly, these certification boards, as I mentioned, they are like not-for-profit organization. They are not very much. They're not able to pursue or follow up on the renewals of these certificates. So they just give it, and at times nobody checks them or verify them. So what happens is that if their certification is invalid, then we will upboard those stores, and once those stores are upboarded, they will be compelled to renew those certifications. So they will be reaching out to those certification boards to get a renewal of that certification to make sure that they stay valid. So these are some of the key value propositions of our fundamental business. Now you ask about the roadmap. So the roadmap, we it's been we did our ICO, which is initial coin offering in 2021, and we raised almost $1.5 million from that ICO. The challenge was that it was in November 2021 when the Bitcoin was about like $65,000, and by the time we went for encashment or conversion to the execution plan, then there was a massive crash for the Bitcoin prices. So that money literally turned into like lost 80% of the value of it. But we had a commitment with our investors, and we did not stop. We just continued expanding because we were supported by our fundamental operations. So we continued the expansion, and now we have thousands of stores on our platform. Our one of the biggest challenges that the marketing of it, that people, they're still not aware that we have such a service available. So there are a lot of investments required in terms of the marketing and promotion. So our plan is to, of course, expand beyond US. This problem is not only for the US. This situation or this problem is something which is very relatable in all the Western countries, where there's consumers of halal and kosher meat and food. We have all like UK is one of the biggest markets, and so is Germany, Australia, all those countries. Like there's a huge market and huge potential for that. So we do have a plan to scale geographically, and there is going to be some major announcements coming up in the first week of Jan. I'm not supposed to release it yet, but there's some very exciting announcement coming in the first week of Jan where we're gonna share more openly about the expansion and execution plan and where we are and where we are going. In terms of the technology, the roadmap is that we are starting our blockchain use case development. So by June of Next year, we have a plan that at least phase one of the blockchain will be completed, that the authentication certification part should be integrated with our apps. But not only that, we are also launching an AI integration with the blockchain, so that the AI use cases are very relevant. Like it proactively provides a lot of information about the order of a customer. It will be different for the stores, like what are the items which are, high selling items, where they should invest, which items they should buy, which items they should not buy. And to the customers, they will provide a lot of information about the authentication certification. So AI integration with that is also in the works for the development. And so our roadmap is essentially two parts. One part is the technical expansion of the platform that we have, and the second one is to expand geographically. As I mentioned, that we've already proven the business model. We are already a revenue generating company. Now we are ready to scale, and we are ready to scale and take it to the next level. Of course, it takes time. It's We have been funded with an ICO, which of course lost a lot of value. There was depreciation, impairment of that. The funds that we raise. But we have survived, I think, the worst time period. So for now, and the good times are coming, and our eyes are all set to take it to the next levels, because it's such a huge market, and we are the first ones who have this potential and opportunity to address that. And we are not gonna back down. We just keep moving forward and continue expansion, both in terms of our technology as well as in terms of geographically. Back to you.
Okay, just a small question. Um, as I understood, your first market was United States. Yeah.
Yep.
So just as a thing, why did you start with the United States?
So that's a great question. And I will give you like an example. Like when I came to the US, I'm the consumer of halal meat, and the first thing when I landed the second day was, where should I get my meat? Like the only thing which I was aware about, besides of course working experience with the technology companies, is savoring a good steak, right? So I had no experience of like the meat business or anything like that. And I am a very frequent traveler. Like I've been traveling from New York to San Francisco on like almost a weekly basis, when I did that for a very long time, or to Seattle, so East Coast to West Coast, and traveling here and there. So I hardly got any time to do my groceries. And wherever I used to go, I used to first search up that, okay, where can I find the halal meat or the halal food? And there is no such app available who can define that to me. And I discussed this with a lot of people at that time. I'm talking about 2017, 2018 time period. They were like uh, Domino's was getting a lot of traction. Their service was amazing. Like you order and pizza and you get it delivered in like 17, 18 minutes in your home. So I thought that somebody might start and catering to this market, and they will start some ordering and delivery services. But after some time, nothing happens. So since I was there, and it is a problem, especially in all the Western countries, because if any Muslim country, it is assumed that all the meat which is available is already halal. So it's majorly a problem of all the Western countries, where there is a minority community who consume that meat. So I discussed with some of my friends, very close friends of the co-founders for the company, and then we thought that, what, let's give a try. Let's do it. And this is our home ground. I'm based in New York, which is like a big market, right? So let's start with one store. So that's why we started with one store in the US. And the first day when we got the response from that store, and we were surprised, like our app downloads were completely organic. We just, like, with the word of mouth, we tell people in the community that this is what we have launched, and if you want to use the service and see that if it works for you. It was a very basic preliminary service, so there were like a lot of issues and challenges, but in the process we learned a lot in terms of the business processes, the optimization of those, the technology part of it, the customer services setup, the delivery setup, the execution challenges. So we did that for about a year and improved our business processes, our business model, our the customer services, all those sections. And then we went for a kind of like a smaller round of funding using via an ICO. So one data point which is significant and I would like to mention here is that what we realize is that although this is something which is halal and kosher is associated with Muslims and Jews for the consumption of this meat, but many of our customers didn't belong to neither of these communities, and so we realized that this is way bigger market, and that proves the $40 billion meat market, halal meat market in the U.S. only. So then we adjusted our marketing strategy, and then we started promoting in multiple communities and cross communities, and that's how we expanded. So because this is an issue, as I mentioned, more related to the Western countries. The idea originated from here. I was based in here. My co-founders were also based in here. It was easy within reach. So that is why we started with the US. And US, as you know, that's one of the biggest markets in the world. If we are able to prove ourselves in this market, then the rest of the world is something that we just have to replicate the model and scale. So with this experience, I think that we are ready to take it to the next levels.
Okay, thank you. As we've been speaking about, a little bit about your history, and so on. So, what are your meet achievements so far?
So GoMeat, we have come a long way. Like as I mentioned, that we started from the scratch. This is business. Like we came from an idea to an execution, from the very basic one store to multiple thousand stores in multiple states in the U.S. Our team has grown enough. In terms of the achievements, I would say that the biggest achievement is that we are the first ordering and delivery services where our crypto wallets are integrated. Like it's not just we are saying that people can use our token to place an order. It is actually right now they can place an order using our GoMeat tokens. Although the adoption is not there, and there are a lot of activities and there are plans to make it happen because people are not aware of it. But we are the first ones who have actually integrated the crypto wallets, and people can place an order using our own tokens and get the utilities of the token. And it is working right now in the US. That is our biggest achievement, I would say, in terms of the technology. Second, I would say that with all the pressures and with all the challenges in the blockchain and in the crypto space, there's like too much uncertainties. There are too many projects failing around us. There are so many companies who started with us, but they're not able to survive. So we've been able to survive the bad weather, and I think that we are ready to take it to the next level. So that is also one of the important. I would say that in terms of the success that we've been able to pass through some bad times, some rough times. Bitcoin was crashing, cryptocurrencies was falling, the interest rates were going high. The cash, the last couple of years have been the worst for fundraising around the globe, and especially in the US, because now there's no free money. Like the days for 0% interest money is gone now, so the interest rates are very high. But we've been able to survive, and we've been able to continue our expansion. So with all these tough situations, we've been able to continue executing. We adjusted our business model quite a bit. We have upgraded our technology platforms, and we are still moving forward, and we are still feeling strong about it. So these are some of the biggest achievements I would say so far, and we've come a long way, but we still have a long way to go.
Okay, thank you. Really cool achievements. Appreciate them. So, can you give some insights on your services, like scale up or maybe expansion, maybe for future plans? Can you share some details?
So this is a question which is a lot of our community members, if they're in the call, they will be very much interested to get an answer to this question, because we've been in a mode where we've been in a surviving mode for a while, and the things were not very much active. Of course, like we raised funding, and then we use that for the certain level of expansion. In order to take it to the next level, we require a second round of funding, and we need to move it to the to take it to the next level. So we have some very, very exciting plans for our expansion. We've been very careful about the viewpoint that we do not want to get into the dilution. We do not want to get into another token subscription round. We want to generate the funds from either operations or to connect with some venture capital who can support, who can understand the business model and can invest with us. So that has been our priority. So with those insights, we have planned to go beyond USA. As I mentioned, that I won't be able to sharing that until we have the formal announcement and everything legalized and ready, which is sometime in the first week of January we are planning. But we do have plans to expand beyond US. So that is something that I can share at this point in time. And in the meanwhile, we continue expanding and improving our technology as well.
Okay, thank you. Um, can you share maybe some information about your partnerships, maybe future partnerships or current ones?
Yes. So we have uh, we've been working and very closely with the Hydra blockchain. That is where we have started. That is our blockchain. Our cryptocurrency token is also based on the Hydra HRC20 token. So that like they are like one of the early investors with us who we started building with them. So they, of course, like everybody's going through some tough times. It's been like one of the worst time for the cryptocurrencies. But in terms of the partnership, we have something. There's some announcements coming up, and this is also part of it. It will be a very pleasant surprise for a lot of our community members and investors. And as I mentioned, that the first week of January is something that we are looking forward. There are still some things which needs to be legalized before we can actually formally announce. So we have the collaboration plans. We are entering into some great partnerships with some of the largest and biggest organizations. That's it. At this point in time, this is what I can share at the most. But and I will use this forum to encourage a lot of people who are listening that just hold tight and just bear with us. I know there's been some chaotic. People are waiting for some answers, and they're like seeking that we've been very transparent with our community, especially all the way. We've been very careful about sharing the information. We've been always been very transparent in how we are doing what we are doing. We just, for us, our credibility is one of the biggest assets that we have created. We are in a space where there is nobody else. So we just want to make sure that we do everything legally and formalized. Like we are incorporated in the USA. We do have to follow SEC regulations. There are a lot of compliance and regulation challenges which are on in the way. We all understand, sir. These are the challenges that we are ironing out, and things are getting very positive. There is a very positive momentum. The Bitcoin ETF is in the news everywhere. The cryptocurrencies are getting the momentum again. People are talking about the next bull run. However, at the same time, we are focused on expanding our business fundamentals as well as, of course, our cryptocurrency tokens. So it goes hand in hand. You cannot just focus on one side of the business and ignore the second side, because one is useless without the other. We just don't want to be a project where we create a cryptocurrency and sell it to the people and then do a rug pull and get out of the business. We want to establish a business, a fundamental revenue generating, profitable business, because now that is the next trend. There are a lot of unicorn companies. If you look at CNBC today, there's a headline that the free ride for the startups is over. 2023 is the bubble where the startup burst, that bubble burst. And large companies, the unicorn companies, they failed because of the high rising interest rate, and there's no free money available. Now, the future is that the company who is profitable, who can sustain their operations, and who can continue to grow based on their fundamental operations are the ones who are going to survive in this market. And this is where we have been very, very focused on. So, in terms of the partnerships and collaborations, we do have these announcements coming up. It will be very interesting, and we will definitely use your platform as well to share those announcements when we do that. And as soon as we are ready with that, back to you.
Yeah, guys, and by the way, don't forget to subscribe, to follow socials of GoMeat. And by the way, you can get a toy for doing this, for following Telegram and Discord. So, yeah. And I think here we can move on to the questions from the community, because I know we have questions from GoMeat community, we have questions from our community. So let's start with the questions from GoMeat community. Um, yeah, okay.
Sure.
Okay, so the first one, what are the plans to increase frequency in orders and loyalty to the brand?
And this is a very fundamental question. Well, it is a fundamental to our business. And we know that we have increased the number of stores, we have the platform, we have the technology, we have the services available. But as I mentioned, there are not many people are aware that this service is available, and that requires substantial um, investment in marketing and promotions. If you see, you must be ordering, like there are multiple ordering and delivery services, and each one of them is running a lot of promotions and discounts, and most of them are in a loss making state. We, as a startup, since last few years, and now getting traction and understanding the business properly, so we've been very careful how to spend the money. Each and every dollar is very important for us. We don't want to be so aggressive in marketing that we lost sight of that we lose sight of our operations and the basic fundamental needs of the company, because that is the priority. But having the same time, we do not want to become irrelevant. We do not want any competitor to come and take over and replace us, because this is something that we have created that edge for a long time. So we've been very careful how to utilize those funding. So our orders for now, they are not as expected as we initially thought, because we are not investing in anything. Like when we run a campaign, we know that there are two kinds of customer. One is that who are doing the repeat orders, like if, no matter what the price is, no matter what the discount levels are, they place an order and use that service. The other kind of customers are that they are only waiting for the deals and the promotions and the campaigns. When we run them, then they place an order. So what we want is to increase the number of those repeat customers, and those customers who understand the time value of money, and irrespective of the pricing part of it. So we've been able to establish and retain those customers, and our focus is to organically grow in that aspect. Now, as I mentioned, that we are talking with collaborations and partnerships, and that is one of the key fundamental concern, with our focus on towards the path to profitability, so that the business can sustain itself rather than any external funding. And with that objective in mind, we do have some scale up rollout plans in collaboration with some partners as well, which are going to be announced. So hopefully there is going to be substantial um, improvement in that part of the business. And of course, everything, the loyalty of the customer depends upon the brand, and the brand is like the quality of service. The quality of service is prime. We have made a lot of changes. We are giving an experience to the customer. Like, it's not only that they're placing an order using the cryptocurrency token, that is an experience in itself. But other than that, like from their ordering process to the delivery and the feedback, that is something that we've been working hard. Our customer services is doing a phenomenal job, making sure that we retain the customers. We give them a very personalized service when they place an order, and so that we create the brand loyalty in that context, so that they can repeat, they can place the repeated orders. I hope I'm able to answer this question.
Yeah, and I think it's like more than just understandable. So yeah. uh, okay. Moving on to the second question. Is the team considering to raise funds through any venture capital?
Right. That's a good question. So as I mentioned, that there are like a couple of ways of fundraising. The first one is very simple, that we go for another round of token subscription, and we kind of like try to raise funds issuing our tokens. Our tokens are very limited in number. There's total 5 million token supply. It's only 2 million in circulation, 3 million are locked. And those 3 million which are locked, they are 1 million out of that is for the team and founder token, which are vested for 1 year. And since last, we have extended that vesting period. It was supposed to be available like 2 years back, but we continued our vesting, just to show the commitment to the investors that the team is not going to use that token for any dumping or anything. So that period has been extended. Now, the only 2 million tokens are in circulation. About 1.2 million tokens are for the future expansion, but we do not want to dilute the investment of our investors who invested at early phase. They are the ones who are the reason that we are here where we are. So the option we have is that we go for funding from a venture capital, maybe equity based funding, So that is something that our token-based funding, it depends upon the token-based funding with a vesting period as well. So right now the cryptocurrencies have a very negative connotation. The moment you talk about cryptocurrency, the other person will say it's a scam. So we are navigating through those challenges. We are trying to change the perception because of the fundamental business use case that we have, because we have a sustainable business. There's a real problem we are trying to solve. And of course, we are talking to several angel investors as well as the VCs. However, the overall environment, especially in the US, has not been very feasible. As I mentioned, that last 2 years have been the worst for fundraising in last 10 years. So we're going through the significant hurdles and challenges. But as I mentioned, that we have some great announcements coming up in the first week of January, and there will be more to be disclosed as much as we can. So to answer this question, that is one possible way that via VC to raise the funding, and we are absolutely exploring that route.
Okay, we're all waiting for the announcements you're speaking about.
Yeah, yeah.
Okay. So the last question from your community, it may sound kind of hard, but okay. When is the DAX liquidity going to be back? Before that, the necessaries for the team to add the trading pair.
So I know that there's been skepticism that we have a DEX is decentralized exchange. There's a lot of people in your community, they might not be aware. There's like a centralized exchange and a decentralized exchange. So we have shut down the decentralized exchange in order to protect our token. Each and every GoMeat token for us is very, very precious and valuable, because what is about to happen is going to become way more precious and valuable with such a limited supply, with such a limited hands. This is going to be a very precious token for us. And with that in mind, we have discontinued the tax for the time being. We do have a plan to re-engage with the tax, but at the right time. At the right time when this is beneficial for the token holders, at the right time when we have the overall market getting the right momentum, and at the same time making sure that we are at the right tax when we do that. So with all these considerations, we have shut down the tax for a while. We will continue doing like that. We are not reopening immediately, but Q1 of next year, that is the time period when we are looking to re-engage with the DEX and give an opportunity to our token holders if they want to swap with other tokens, or if they want to do, there are so many things that they want to do. But, with these announcements coming up, I'm sure that people would love to retain those tokens rather than swapping those tokens with any other cryptocurrency. So that's how I can answer this question right now.
Okay, so I think here we can move to the questions from our community, because I can see some interesting questions. So the first one is kind of easy. So when will we see GoMeat in Brazil?
Wow. Well, I actually like this question because Brazil is one of the largest halal meat producing countries in the world. And we are already like the people we are collaborating, talking with, they are definitely, we have some collaborations happening in Brazil as well. So that is on our roadmap. I cannot give you some specific timelines, of course, because it has to go through a process. But as you know, Brazil is one of the largest lal meat countries, and we do have some collaborations and partnerships coming from there as well.
Okay, thank you. Moving on. So, hello, are you working already on your? No, I think this second part is more interesting. So, how do you plan to overcome strict crypto regulations on some key countries for your business?
Wow. So that's a question a lot of people like they're trying to answer this question because there's so much uncertainty with the regulations. What I can say is that we've been very vocal about a couple of things. Regulations are important, but of course, the concept of blockchain and cryptocurrency in the real spirit is very different. It is something that might not require the regulation for like a lot of people, but we live in a world where things has to be regulated and has to be controlled. So I think there's a lot of conversations happening in this space that how we can, make sure that we are fully compliant at this point in time. From the government perspective, our view is that we need to make sure that we stay compliant when we stay like execute our business legally. We are a US SEC. We are a US based company. We have to be fully in compliant with SEC as well. So with all those things on the table, and you can see that there are a lot of things happening. It's getting a positive momentum. Some large investors, they are entering into this space. If the BTC ETF is approved, like it will become a legitimate asset class, which will bring a lot of investment into that, and they have to go through the regulation process. So we are kind of like focus on our business fundamentals and making sure that we are protecting ourselves and we are not entering into anything which might be a risk to us. But there are severe uncertainties in this space. I won't be able to answer exactly because it's way beyond my understanding at this point in time. Our view is to how best we can protect our business, how best we can stay compliant, and how best we can ensure that we do not break any rules or laws and continue addressing the mission and the vision that we have.
Okay, thank you. So, what have been the challenges of implementing this technology in the field of food?
So I can talk, hours for that. Just imagine that a meat store, which is operated by, an old couple, and it's a kind of like family business who have no insight of the technology and how to use that, and you go to them and tell them that now we are bringing your store on the platform and we are automating you, and you'll get an order and you'll process the order on a tablet, and you'll get it delivered. The driver will come and pick it up and so on, and then explaining them that what the blockchain is and what transparency and authentication we are bringing, all those things. So it's a very manual process at the moment, and this is the biggest disruption that what we are trying to do, because my generation, or I'm not that old, so I shouldn't say that, like but for sure, like my kids, they won't be standing in those halal meat stores for like 3 hours just waiting for their meat. So the young generation, they want to get order and get it delivered as soon as they can, right? So maybe we are early, we are ahead of our time, but one of the challenges that we face is the adoption of this with these very manual meat stores. But we have done a lot of legwork, and there are a lot of efforts that has been put into by the team. We have a phenomenal team. They've put in amazing efforts despite all these stresses and worse circumstances. Our team has been very professional, and they've continued to expand and convince those stores to bring their stores on the platform, and educate them on how to operate and use the service. So implementing this technology from the store point of view, that was one of the challenge. Second challenge from the technology viewpoint was on the blockchain itself. Like you won't find blockchain is still pretty new, like the development. If you're developing something on the blockchain, you have to be you won't find those resources easily in the market. We have an amazing technology team. They have upgraded the platform. They are like full hands down into the technology itself. We are building this use case and we are making progress. So that has been a challenge for us, finding the right resources. But our team is now quite built up. And as I mentioned, that we have an amazing tech team as well. We are a technology company, so we have to have the best of the best resources available. So developing the use case, that is definitely a challenge. And the third, I would say, the real disruption which is about to happen with this is when actually the supply chain will be converted, because it is very manual at this point in time. So we know the challenges. We've been into the business far enough. We have understood the requirements, the challenges, the pain points, and now we do have a very thorough, well thought out action plan how to execute that. And we have an amazing team who have this, the competence and the professionalism to execute this plan. So that's how I would answer this question.
Okay, thank you. And so here we are moving to an end. And I have one, I don't know, it's kind of strange question,
Mhm.
but I think maybe you know the answer. So, one person, one account. Should be this a rule or not?
One person, one account, should be a rule on that.
Yeah, just I was just thinking this is a question for us or for you. but I think it's the question for you, but I'm not sure. So I thought it's better to ask than not to ask.
No, no, it's we always entertain. We've been very transparent with everybody, right? So this is a community based project. This is something that has been funded by the community. We appreciate all the questions, even if we don't understand. So I think this question is referring to there two there are two areas. Might one might be like one account, like I would encourage one person having two or three accounts in terms of our app. Like if they are like, at times you have two or three accounts just because you want to avail discount or use a coupon code which operate for single user. So I agree with that, that if there's a coupon code which is like for one user only, at times what happened, the people, they create a second account with a second email address and they use just in order to use that coupon code. So I would fully agree with that, that one user should have one account. The second could be, that's what my understanding is, and I fully agree with this concept of one user having single account. That's how I would answer this question.
Okay, thank you. So I think we can end here. I want to say thank you for such an interesting AMA session because really I feel that you're really into this field and you know a lot information. So thank
So
you. That was really interesting.
I
There was,
I I
yeah,
I cannot thank you enough for your time and giving us an opportunity to present this to your community. We understand your community is very different than the cryptocurrencies and blockchain a bit, right? It's more around the toys and the collections, but there's something that we believe that you have the people who could understand the technology part of it and the problem that we are trying to solve. And I
yeah,
would encourage them
yeah,
to join our community and participate, ask more questions, as many questions as they have, do their due diligence, and I can assure you that we have the team to support and answer any of their questions they have.
okay. So yeah, and I just wanted to tell that in many crypto communities, like people are not people. They're like sometimes they're unreal. But I'm sure, and I know that we have a really like close to life community, and I think even if people don't understand like all the technologies you've been speaking about, for them it's just a really nice product, and I'm sure there are a lot of people who would be really interested in this.
And
So
that is
yeah.
the reason that we are doing engaging with your community, because we know that in the crypto communities you create like a million bots and you say that they are like the real people, but actually we've been long enough in the business to identify who's bot and who's not. So we are really looking forward to the support and help from your community to join GoMeat community and be part of this journey. We are just starting up and we have a long way to go.
Yeah. Okay. So the last thing I want to say it's maybe to all the people who've been listening to us all this time. So thank you guys. Wait for the information on how to get the silver one toy and the mythical one gold toy, because yeah, we'll drop the information soon. So thank you, and I think it's also the last AMA session in 2023. So I wish you happy holidays, happy New Year, and thank you.
Wonderful. Thank you for having us. Happy holidays. Bye.
Bye.